Hello everyone, in this video we will talk about the story of the most famous jail in the 1800s and the brutality behind it. If you like these videos with more information, just click the subscribe button and the notification bell to be notified of my next videos. The Eastern State Penitentiary is known as the most expensive building ever built in the United States in those days. The Castle Jail was built in 1829. It was designed for 300 prisons. It was a solitary confinement. The prisoners lived alone, exercised alone, and ate alone. The jail is designed to protect 250 inmates. Unlike prisons today, inmates can't hang out in their cell, play basketball, and talk to other inmates. Prisoners in the Eastern State Penitentiary have been banned from contacting anyone inside the prison. When a prisoner is released from his cell, a dark hood is placed over his head so that he cannot see the area outside his cell, and the other prisoners cannot see his face. Some prisoners are desperate for contact with others. They are making a way to talk to other inmates. Prior to this reform in 1913, the prison designed to protect 250 inmates had more than 1,700 prisoners jammed in small cells where there was little light and air. When a prisoner is caught talking with another prisoner, both of them have to face severe punishment. The water bath. The inmates who broke the rules risked being dunked in a bath of ice-cold water, then hung from a wall for the night. During the winter months, when this punishment was most popular, the water on the inmate's skin would form a layer of ice before morning. The second punishment is the mad chair. The mad chair was named such because it was not uncommon for an inmate to go mad before his punishment ended. Inmates would be strapped into the chair with leather strips, so tightly that it was impossible for them to make the smallest of movements. They would sit for days, without food, until the circulation in their body almost stopped from the tightness of the straps and the lack of movement. The most deadly punishment was known as the iron gag, and specifically designed for those inmates who refused to obey the no communication policies. An iron collar was clamped onto the tongue of the inmate, and then chained to his wrists, which were strapped high behind their back. Any movement resulted in a tearing of the tongue and severe bleeding. The last punishment is the hole. Dug under block number 14, the hole was nothing but a pit in the ground where incorrigible inmates would stay locked, sometimes for weeks. There was no light, little air, and those thrown into its torturous grip would receive water and a slice of bread, if they got to it before the rats and cockroaches. It has been reported that the Quakers were not responsible for the punishments the inmates were forced to endure. The extreme penitence was something the hired staff in the prison designed and enforced. Charles Dickens visited the prison in the 1840s and found the conditions appalling. Charles John Ephraim Dickens was an English writer and social critic. He described the inmates at Eastern Pen as being buried alive, and wrote about the psychological torture the inmates suffered at the hands of their captors. Finding the conditions of the prison unacceptable, the prison was taken over and reformed, and the Pennsylvania system was abolished. Finally, in 1971, the sprawling monstrous prison was closed. Since its closure, visitors, employees and those researching paranormal activity have reportedly heard unexplained eerie sounds throughout the prison. Tourists and employees have reported hearing weeping, giggling and whispering coming from inside the prison walls. One major paranormal episode reported occurred to a locksmith doing restoration work in cell block number 4. According to the tale, he was working to remove a 140-year-old lock from the cell door when a massive force overcame him so powerfully he was unable to move. Some believe when he removed the key it opened a gateway to the horrific past and offered the spirits caught behind its bars a pathway out. The man spoke of experiencing an out-of-body state as he was drawn toward the negative energy which burst through the cell. Anguished faces appeared on the cell wall, hundreds of distorted forms swirled around the cell block, and one dominating form seemed to beckon the locksmith to him. The man's experience was so vivid, years after he would shudder in fear when he talked about it. A paranormal expert visited the place, and decided to put a camera inside the jail. His camera captured a black shadow in the jail cell. This is the video taken inside the jail. You will see a black figure dashing towards the camera and quickly pulls back. Others say it's the ghost of a prisoner who died in the prison. Today the penitentiary is open to the public. In a typical year, maybe 24 paranormal investigations take place in the cell blocks, and according to Assistant Program Director Brett Bertolino, they almost always find evidence of activity. That's only for today's video. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and hit the like button.